gentlemen, welcome back. It's Confidently Wrong. We're talking about
Hey.
Peacemaker. We're going to get
Hey.
into why it's racist in just a little
Whoa.
bit.
Coming in hot.
Off the top rope. 5-star frog splash
Yeah.
West.
Peacemaker Season 2 racist, guys. All right,
The
Savon.
clickbait.
Wow.
Clickbait West in full
Seriously.
swing.
All right, so this episode we're going to talk about Peacemaker Season 2. We're halfway through. There's 4 episodes so far out of 8, but it's been a while. I think it was 2022 that this came out, so it's been about 3 years or so since we've been in this world. It was the first, I think it was the first James Gunn, well, I guess maybe not the first. It was like the second James Gunn entry into the DCU. He had done Suicide Squad or The Suicide Squad, one of those.
One of those.
The Suicide.
The
The one with
Suicide
the
Squad. I always say Suicide Squad. So the Suicide Squad, featuring Idris Elba and John Cena. And then he gets to do a little spin-off with Peacemaker, with John Cena kind of taking on the starring role here. But because it's been so long, I have completely forgotten what happened in season 1. So I'm asking Savon to do a little recap for us in case you're like me and you can't remember too many of the details.
It's okay. Wes is too busy remembering the names of his children and details of their lives, so he's got to prioritize his precious RAM. So I will shoulder this burden with useless superhero comic information.
Of it.
Was
All right.
like a floppy? No.
Give us the broad strokes of where we are before we enter season 2, and then we'll do some spoilers after that. So if you obviously if you haven't seen Peacemaker season 2 yet, and you value not having spoilers, this is your chance to hit the eject button right now.
Yep, ejectocito. Anyways, so for our friends who saw The Suicide Squad, the movie ended with Bloodsport Idris Elba's character shooting John Cena's character Peacemaker, leaving him for dead. Everything happens, and then that's
dropped
the
a building on him too, right, or something?
Dropped a building on him. He got popped in the neck, and then a building was dropped on him. He took a heavy lick. At the start of the Peacemaker show, we've seen that he actually survived his injuries. He was taken in by the government, rehabilitated, all that stuff. Ends up being in prison again, low key. But basically, the arc of the season 1 of Peacemaker is a mix of a new alien invasion, not unlike the Star Wars invasion of body snatching aliens. Peacemaker dealing with the trauma of his own life and realizing, hey man, his violent tendencies are the result of a really, really awful backstory, including but not limited to accidentally killing his own brother.
He did do
the
that.
Abuse of his absolutely insane racist father. Him learning about his own drug abuse and even learning about his sexuality, learning about how him being a shitty person is why he pushes folks away. And so the previous season was the arc of him growing as a person, learning to open up, and then also simultaneously defeating these aliens. By the end of Peacemaker Season 1, the alien threat has been defeated along with him and the Task Force X that he was working with, the big cast and crew. The daughter of Amanda Waller, Adebayo, blows the whistle on her mother on all of the Task Force X things, and everything hits the fan. And that's the end of the show.
Bam.
Shout out to Bam. And so that's the end of the show. It ends with the alien threat defeated and the big whistle being blown on Amanda Waller, who's been, on some real shiesty stuff really since her inception. And so season 2 of Peacemaker kind of opens up with the aftermath of that. A decent amount of time has passed, but now we've gotten to see where all these characters are in the aftermath of this invasion and in the aftermath of Task Force X, the group they were in, being essentially whistle blown and blown up. Does that feel like a solid recap of where we are now?
Yeah, for sure. And Economist stayed with Argus, but everybody else left, basically.
Yeah, everybody for various reasons. Everybody for various reasons went their separate ways, and we can maybe talk a little of what happens after, but we have some questions for that.
Yeah.
And do you guys know where this situates in the timeline of the greater DCU? Like, does this come after the events of Superman?
Yeah.
This is after Superman. We actually get a pretty solid timeline establishment of like the events of Superman have happened and is known to the world and is an active part of conversation within the universe. So like if you saw Superman and they had the whole dimensional rift, they immediately addressed, oh man, this is the aftermath of that dimensional rift.
That's right. Because that's why Argus is worried about it when he opens up the door to his pocket dimension there. They're really on high alert because they're like, this could open up another, dimensional rift that rips across the earth or tears up cities or something like that.
Yeah, it's a pre-existing mini version of the Lucas stuff.
They're in the state of Washington somewhere. which confuses me, like why they're not in like DC or somewhere close to DC.
You mean Argus?
Like all the people, where all this taking place, it's all supposed to be in like Washington. They have like Washington plates. I don't know. They've talked about not like Washington D.C., like the state of Washington.
Oh.
So that part's confusing to me, like why that's the location. All right. So thank you for the recap. I'm glad you have the. We'll just delete that part.
Why isn't this in Gotham City?
I mean, why would Argus have a big presence in Washington? I mean, yeah, okay. All right. Thank you for that excellent
He's
recap.
doing it, Brian.
Ring the bell. Ring the bell, everyone.
I'm going to get a spray bottle for you, Wes. Oh, my Lord.
You need a bell. A little bell that's like,
I can actively see it happening. I'm like, oh, God, he's going off the rails. It's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to see real time how we were talking about the recap and Wes went off into where is it taking place? Washington Place. That don't make no sense. Anyways, Wes, keep on going, big dog. Keep hosting.
He has arrived.
We're here, baby.
Get the little Pavlov bell back on track here. All right. Okay, so my main question, because we're about halfway through, so there's been 4 episodes. We all binge watched it. Literally, we were all talking like last night, like, guys, I haven't started it, and then everyone else chimed in with like, I haven't started yet either.
Oops.
But then last night we started around 8:30, finished. I don't know what that probably means. We finished around midnight or 1.
I finished at 2 a.m.
Oh, 2 a.m. Okay, so you're running on fumes here. I had to wake up early. I couldn't watch the last one. I was too tired. So I watched the last one this morning. We're 4 episodes in out of 8 in season 2. I think the biggest question just is like, what do you think about it so far? I'm actually a little bit unclear on where you guys stand. Our little pre-show talk, it sounded like you're kind of into it, but like also Savon, you're like not into it, and then Brian was like, but we don't really need to talk about it that long. So it sounds like maybe it hasn't really tickled your fancy quite all the way. I don't know. I'm interested to see. Brian, where are you at so far?
I kind of enjoyed it.
Okay.
For a late night watch after a very long day. The show continues to be entertaining. Like James Gunn continues to be able to deliver very funny comedic bits, and I think this show is chock full of that. Plus there's just added intrigue because of having this greater insight into where he's going with this DC universe, right? And with the whole pocket dimension things, and now he's introducing the multiverse kind of with Peacemaker. We get to see Guy Gardner again and Hawkgirl and the Justice Gang be awful. And so in a way, Superman has given me more reason to watch season 2 of Peacemaker, more so than I had for season 1, where it's like, yeah, the Suicide Squad was cool. I'm not super invested in Peacemaker to begin with. I think that has sort of changed in my mind, where I am kind of interested in this version of Peacemaker, and even more so of James Gunn's whole, plot for where he wants to take the DCU. So, I was entertained enough to stay up till 2. I'll put it at that.
All right. Savon, where are you at on it so far? It sounds like you were kind of down on it so far.
Yeah, I'm not really enjoying it. I think it almost feels. In fact, no. I actually know exactly how I feel. It's the same way I feel about when I was critiquing like Taika Waititi in his movies, where he has a distinct way he likes to do things, and that can be really, really good. But sometimes it's almost like it's a vanilla extract concentrate where you need to dilute it down a little bit. Otherwise, it starts to become too much. And I kind of felt like
great analogy.
I can't tell if that was sarcasm, but
no, I think it was very well done.
Yeah, but you got to water it down, because I think while I like a lot of what James Gunn does and has done, his distinctive style stuff sometimes be a little heavy-handed, and I think that can start to make it to where the James Gunness starts to outweigh the Peacemaker of the show, even though there is a little bit of a one and the same. So, like, for example, I like that the show leads into its funny and humor and bits, but I just don't think the bits were super funny, or I thought they were trying too hard to do a bit, so it wasn't quite landing with me. And so the characters were less entertaining to me. And then on that same note, I'm actually not a fan of the blowback of, I guess, Amanda Waller basically. I think the rest of the people in Task Force X are just not in very interesting places right now, and that has made them, for me, less compelling. I think the show maybe, and I don't know, maybe I need to watch more of it, but like, I feel like it was almost more interesting when Peacemaker was the one who was all effed up and everyone else was kind of, riffing off of that. But now it feels like everybody else is really effed up, which on one hand has potential, but the way it is right now, I'm kind of just not really interested in anybody, because they're more either the arc they're setting up doesn't seem very interesting, or the place that they're in isn't interesting, or the bits they have them doing aren't funny. So like Vigilante, for example, has just come off as more annoying to me. Like, Vigilante's just more annoying. As much as I loved Adebayo in the last season, here she's kind of just treading water a little bit and doesn't feel like she have a lot to do. And I don't know. To me, the show just feels a little rudderless. And the characters aren't interesting enough right now for me to be okay with that.
Like, you're not willing to give them the rope right now, because you're like, I don't know if I really care where that character's going or whatever.
Bam isn't interesting right now. Vigilante isn't interesting right now, and I like both of them last season. Hardcore's
I don't think her name is Bam.
It should be.
Adebayo.
Adebayo.
I know they call her Abs. What do they call her? Abs.
Something like that. Ads.
Yeah,
I'll stick with ads. But
I think her name is Leota.
Yeah, but I like ads though. But yeah, but point is, she was a favorite last season. She's less interesting. Vigilante was a favorite last season. He's just really annoying. Hardcore's arc has some potential, but honestly, the fact that we're getting a second version of Hardcore and has its own, like, their own backstory and vibes, for me, starts to feel a little convoluted. So I don't know. Even the character I'm kind of interested in, Hardcore, and her dealing with all her stuff of being blackballed, has potential to be really cool. But then it feels like it's being undercut by, okay, there's an alternate version that Peacemaker's trying to romance, and I'm like, it's hard for me to care about two different versions of a character existing simultaneously in the same story who are very, very drastically different, and they're not even going to have any real on-screen interactions. As of now, maybe that changes, but like right now it feels like we're getting two versions of Hardcore. They're trying to get me invested in both, and it's making me not invested in either.
Well, what if the hardcore kills the softer hardcore?
Now, I mean, I know you're being funny, but like that could be interesting, and there's room for this stuff to get interesting. But just where they are right now, the bits aren't quite landing for me. I feel like the only interesting character right now is Peacemaker, and I think he's at his best when he's riffing off of other less damaged characters. But he's low-key the damaged character and the voice of reason in this weird way. And I don't know, things have shifted from the last season where I like Peacemaker and don't care about everybody else, and I'm not enjoying it on that front.
That's fair. Okay, wait, time out. So I'm trying to figure out.
It. Yeah, I like season one. Like, I don't want to dislike this season.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment. The more that you unpack it, the more I'm like, yeah, that's right. All these other side characters, supporting cast, which actually made the first season really strong, having them just strewn about the way that they are, and they're all just stuck in a perpetual bit, right? Like, that doesn't feel like it's going anywhere for anybody except for Peacemaker. I do see that as being,
and they're giving
sort of a problem
some stuff.
Of the show.
Yeah, they're giving Hardcore some stuff, but like, what is it? Ad's thing is like she's trying to start a security consulting thing,
Which
and like
is dumb.
And I'm just like, that's not, like, I'm sorry, that's not as interesting as her arc was last season of being a hitting badass who didn't know how to unlock it because she's too nice. Like, that was frankly more interesting. Or everyone getting Peacemaker to realize, hey man, you kind of suck, but like,
you suck.
Yeah, I mean, but that was on purpose, right? That was intentional because they knew Peacemaker was going to be hyper unlikable at the start of the show, and you needed to flank him with a more likable cast so that you don't want to turn off the show because you don't like the lead. Like, that was a good plan. And now that Peacemaker's more likable, I thought they would build on that in a fun way. But now it just feels like everybody's kind of scattered about, and there's not a heavy like. What's Vigilante doing? Like, what is he? What
they
is
don't
he,
have
what does
things to do.
He has nothing to do. All he has to do is go to his job and be weird. Literally, his whole bit has just been being weird and quirky. He's not even shooting people anymore. Like, at first, the quirkiness was balanced out by him being a god tier fighter and marksman and an absolute killer. But now he's
an errand boy.
But now he's just doing animal facts and being annoying, and it's like, sometimes it feels like one of those cartoons that's been on so long that all the characters have been flanderized into their bits, and it feels like that happened early between seasons. Even Hardcore, she's a badass.
Friends,
and she's
season 8.
Yeah, everyone, even Hardcore. Like, I like Hardcore, but it's like, okay, so she's really out here just picking bar fights nonstop. Like, okay, we get it. She's struggling, but like, she's just mean all the time. I don't know. It's just not as interesting.
I think that's I think episode 4. I think episode 4 is where we start a little bit to turn the corner on that, right? Because now all of this like Arrested Development that they're all sort of having is coming to a conflict now, because it creates now this like pressure to get unstuck, but at the cost of maybe her friends, right? And so we're and this is clearly spoilers, so if you if you're listening, like, we're definitely spoiling it now, right? Like, I can see where you're coming, and I think if you're sort of a little bit tired of the bits, then that makes sense. It's been 4 episodes at this point, but I'm also like, I don't know, I guess I usually give James Gunn a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there around like he's gonna find a way to like bring the found family together, or he's gonna make like some of this stuff count. And so there's right now, right, like Harcourt is in the middle of kind of betraying her friendship because she can't pay the bills, because she feels kind of crappy about herself, and it's kind of like, well, I'm already a crappy person, like what does screwing one more person over do? Like, at least I can do what I'm built for, right? Like, I can have purpose again, and I can be back in Argus, or I can be back in whatever the CIA that she wants to be. And that's going to tear the team apart a little bit, right? Like, that breaks the trust that they have in each other, and like that gives them something then to work out over the course of the next episodes, or not, right? Like, maybe they're not going to work it out within this series. So I'm okay with it so far. I think and I do agree there's a little bit of like, oh, Adrian's not doing much right now. That was a good point. He is just doing animal facts.
It's been 4 episodes, and it's not like he's done one thing.
Owls.
He's not even doing like cool background. He's not even doing like non-fighting stuff that advances the plot.
Yeah,
he ain't doing shit.
Yeah,
he helped.
But everybody else is doing. Everybody else is doing a little bit of things.
Also, he probably didn't need to help hack up the body. Like,
they just needed a reason for him to be involved. There was an incinerator there already. He didn't need all. I mean, like,
well, he had to make it small enough to fit in the incinerator.
My point is that you see how, but even in this combo, you can see how they were struggling to figure out, okay, how can we somehow justify putting this character into this?
Just keep him around, right?
Yeah, it's like Hardcore's got stuff going on, Peacemaker's got stuff going on.
It's interesting to me that they've made the choice so far that Peacemaker hasn't gotten into any fights.
Except with himself.
Yeah,
even as a hero, he hasn't gotten into a fight. Oh, I guess.
No, he saved those. He killed those terrorists in the other universe.
It was pretty brutal doing that.
He had a whole, and he was whooping their ass too.
Okay. I take it back. You're right. Okay.
He was double tapping and all. But no, I know Wes, but I see the point you're getting at though, and this is actually a cool element of Peacemaker. They're making it very clear, even with the fights he has a very strong aversion to violence still, right? Like, for how violent his character was in the movie and the first season, like, especially in the scene in season 1 where he couldn't pull through to snipe the family, and he had the whole mental block of, right, I gotta carve the peaceful dove of my weapon, otherwise I can't do it, and that's clearly like a mental block, right? And you're getting the like, no, but like, I like that because that was a genuine, like, okay, he's not just a cold-blooded killer, he actually really doesn't like it. And the show has actually done a good job of characterizing that change has stuck. Like, he's constantly talking about how he's trying to be better and reflect, and you see him have ups and downs and even relapse a little bit, right, with the drug-fueled orgy, which I know it's meant to be played for laughs, but when you take a step back, you actually do feel bad for the dude because he's actually coping hard. When he kills his doppelganger, he's viciously washing the blood off. Like, I'm actually a big fan of how Peacemaker the development has stuck. He didn't backslide off screen between movies. This man don't really like violence if he can help it, and legitimately wants to change. And that's probably the one thing that's hooking me still in the show, is that Peacemaker has legitimately changed, and now he's trying to get it to stick and get other people to buy in, including this weird other universe, which I still got mixed feelings about. But like, I like what they're doing with that.
I will
Yeah,
say
I like
James Gunn is a master at writing man children. There's just like so many variety of man children that he has depicted on screen. Like I thought he'd be done by now, but there's new man children constantly that he's introducing us to. And this new version of Peacemaker is another iteration of that. And I think honestly that's that's definitely the driving force of this season, and what has made the show really interesting is seeing this guy relapse and then be presented basically with the devil's bargain. Like here's an opportunity to have all the things that you ever wanted, and
best universe ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
live the actual dream life that you had always had envisioned for yourself. And I actually feel so much sympathy for him. Every moment he has with his deceased brother, and now they're telling each other constantly that they love each other. I am actually really rooting for him. It feels like such a emotional, beautiful moment for that character. And in a lot of ways, you want him to just take on that mantle in top trio in the perfect universe. But we, of course, know that can't happen. That can't happen.
No.
And it's, I think that's really where the
Hardcore
strength
points
of
out
the
to him,
show
like,
is.
whether it's real or not, it's a fallacy, right? Like, you can't have that, given that all you've been through, right? Like,
is it hardcore or
Ads?
ads?
Oh, ads. Sorry, yeah. Ads was pointing out that like you can't have that. Like, as much as you want that to have been your life, like it wasn't your life, and so you will always know.
And you did kill his brother. Like when he lost his brother, I'm like he did lose his brother. Like you killed him, and
you'll always know it. Yeah.
And it's like, B, you can't just body snatch this man whole life. You already are stumbling through this shit, barely able to even handle yourself, whether it's from you just seeing loved ones who you didn't think you'd see, or just, you just not knowing shit. Like, hey, man, we all know this ain't sustainable. So
no,
where's the rubber going to hit the road? Where's this, where are things what's going to be the fracture point of this whole conflict? I don't know.
Yeah. And different than Superman, different than, well,
another man-child.
Different than
Lex
Superman.
Luthor, another man-child.
Very different type of man-child. Peacemaker is very much a comedy first, right? There's the gore is like over the top, like eagerly snatching somebody's eye out of his head and then like throwing the blood up in the air.
In a dramatic
with like
moon
the moon
backstop with the blood. It's just
it's just like all of it's a little bit, on the absurd side on purpose. And like, I mean, I don't think they've like overstepped it too much.
Not Tim Meadows' character. You don't think they overstepped with that? You don't think that was just pure silliness?
This is what I'm getting to.
Perfectly in the pocket.
I think it's been good, but I wanted to get your take on it. Like, what's been your verdict so far on the comedy aspects of it? Because we're given a lot. There's lots of gags. There's lots of bits. There's lots of one-liners. Did you get enough dong in that orgy scene? Like, what is your verdict so far?
There's a variety of dong. I noticed.
A lot of body versatility.
Did it satiate your need for the diversity of dong? Savon, what do you think so far about the comedy?
I think, like I said before, I think the comedy has its moments, but it is starting to feel like the same humor that's like Deadpool, Wolverine, almost like a very, very crass Adult Swim show where it feels like it's more about how many F-bombs and swears and creative ways to curse they can drop than actual humor. This is very much how I felt about Deadpool and Wolverine. I felt the same way. I felt like the humor at a certain point is just like, it starts to give, we're talking about the man-child theme, it starts to kind of feel like man-child humor. It's like, it's just dudes sitting around each other, swearing at each other and cursing while we play rock music for all these musical bits, either in the middle or end of the episode. And it's kind of like, it starts to become predictable. It starts to become predictable a little bit of like, how the bits, like, again, like, I've talked about even the Tim Meadows' character, but even the other ones, I feel like all the conversations just devolve into people swearing and cursing each other out. It's like, Vigilante comes and is annoying, and then everybody swears and like, get the F out of here. How do you effing know that? All this. Judo master arguing with economos, and they're just cursing each other out.
That was so
Bird
funny.
dude in the van, they're arguing, they're just cursing each other out. Everyone, Tim Meadows offending people. Shut the F up. It's just, at a certain point, it just starts to feel like a bunch of characters arguing and bickering and throwing F-bombs in like in a way that like James Gunn's done in a lot of his shows or things I've seen, but it starts to feel a little heavy. I think James Gunn's starting to spread himself thin a little bit. Right. Yeah, I think he spread himself thin a little bit because some of the major like tropes he likes to do, you start to see a little too much, and you start to be like, okay, maybe we don't need this in every single show that we do. We don't need a rock musical number in every single episode or movie that this man does.
Some of the episodes had multiple
we don't
needle drops. Yeah.
You don't need to have a rock song playing over the fight scene while ridiculous, over the top, borderline silly violence happens. You know? Like you don't need Tim Meadows to I don't know what the hell that bit when he was introduced was. He was just literally trolling Economos for 15 minutes in a way that did not advance the plot
You didn't like the ladies, man?
You know, the bird blindness thing. I was like, okay, is this some kind of joke that is serious, or does this man, or are we gonna have a character who's a part of this serious government organization doing all this serious government assassination work while simultaneously a person in charge, unironically, is not knowing the difference between a duck and an eagle?
Y'all that feels like the most real. That's what our government is right now, Savon.
To me, that's like that James Gunn I Am Groot humor that I'm like, I'm sorry, I will never find this shit funny.
All right. And I enjoyed that part.
And I just have to recognize that James Gunn likes to have CGI animals doing ridiculous shit to rock music playing. And that's just going to happen in anything he can get his hands on. And I have to just be okay with Crypto, Rocket, Groot, Eagly, whatever the hell else this man can get his hands on, and just be, creature commandos, whatever. I just got to accept that's just how James Gunn get down.
Wait, let me say one more thing. The
humor's kind of
the guy who directs most of these episodes so far is also the person who directed Superbad.
Greg Mottola?
Yeah. So it sort of makes sense that he's also in the same wheelhouse of let's have like young men and
teenage humor,
like messed up people, just like screaming at each other and like having these like crazy put downs and comebacks and stuff.
The jokes aren't clever. That's what it is. It's not a lot of like clever jokes. It just feels like this could be like we could have that type of humor if we decided we wanted to swear and curse at each other all day. I'm like, sure, we could replicate that style of humor. There's not really any cleverness to it. It all just feels like low hanging fruit insult stuff, which I got enough of that in season 1.
All right,
I think you're starting to sound like me, actually.
Look, man,
weird.
Look.
Do you want to watch Seinfeld together?
Nah, I'm good on that.
I've
enjoyed the humor so far. Brian, what are you thinking about the comedy so far?
Every time Savon talks, I'm like, yes, you're probably right. But I will say I did find it funny, and I think
you liked it.
Tim Meadows is the best addition to this show. I agree with you that all the other characters, we've heard this before ad nauseum, and you're right. They're sort of totally just like rehashing the same kind of like man-child teenage arguing energy in all of these conversations. But I will say that Tim Meadows' version of it is by far the best thing going for the show comedically, because he is just that funny. He just like brings this like smiley like cocksure attitude that it's both like, man, I want to be this guy's friend, but also he's being an asshole at the same time, and I don't know, it has an extra little bit of texture and depth to it that only Tim Meadows can do. That he's by far one of my favorite like Saturday Night Live cast members of all time.
Me too.
And
that's why
I think he's just
upset.
killing it. He's just killing it every time. I want him on screen all the time.
He's killing it for certain.
I've enjoyed Tim Meadows. I feel like he's in that same ballpark as like John Turturro, and John Turturro's doing like a really funny character, and you're just like, yeah, I know this isn't realistic, but like
you underestimate the sneaky.
Yeah, the shit is so funny.
But it doesn't feel just like tonally. I don't think like it's tonally out of place. Maybe for the character, like y'all don't think him. Maybe it's the fact that he's supposed to be a government agent, and like. But all the other government agent people, they can play them serious and still have the show be humorous. Like, you still got Rick Flag and Hardcore and all the other folks who can be funny but still be serious and about their job. But I feel like has he had a single serious? He's had one serious moment when Homeboy spit on him. I thought, oh,
I
okay,
thought that
he's
was
gonna act
still
like a
kind of
real.
funny.
I was like, oh, he's gonna act like a real person. It's like, oh no, he's still doing the effing duck bit. Oh my Jesus! Literally right after he did the duck bit, I was like, oh my God, oh my Lord, I'm gonna pluck out my own eye. If this man,
You have no tolerance for people with bird blindness? Come on, man.
no lie, the bird blindness bit actually was making me angry. Like, you know, I was about to say some shit, and you feel like the blood in your face kind of hot flash. I was actually getting upset. I was like, this is so effing dumb. And everyone is in this show where everyone is. Yeah. In the show where everyone is mean and calls stuff out, no one is mean and calling this out except for Economos. So I'm like, hey man, can we all at least collectively be like, yo man, shut the F up.
Well, but nobody else has heard it. He's only said it to like Bordeaux and Flag. Maybe
he said it to the audience a lot.
Yeah. That whole team, he gave them all those ridiculous nicknames and then talked about his bird blindness. He said it was a duck. They were like, what are you talking
it's
about?
Clear he's incompetent. I don't know.
You should have did something. Look what almost happened to Titties. I'm just like, what are we doing here? Am I drunk right now?
He called him Mexicali.
Yes, I was just like, what in God's name is happening?
I think I don't mind it because the whole show is a bit, right? Like, the ratio between like seriousness and humor for Peacemaker, you know, definitely skews humor. And probably has always been its strongest point. You know, even though it does have like this like interesting character development side of things to go with
the character moments in the show were way stronger season 1.
I think the character moments are really good for Peacemaker himself in this season because of 100%. The dilemma that he's dealing with. It's not available for any other character, and every character around him has become a bit. Yeah.
I think Harcourt is getting some of that too.
She is, and they're keeping
feels a little flat though.
Harcourt, they gave it some momentum. Okay, cool. She's blackballed. She's having a career crisis. Okay, that makes sense. Amanda Waller is blackballing. Okay, for her and the fighting part. Okay, cool. For her, it got interesting when Rick Flag Sr. approached her about all. I'm like, okay, cool. She's getting something interesting, but like, cool. We still have a whole group of 3 other people who, like, again, ads not really got nothing going on. Vigilantes, they don't know what to do with them. I think Economos, they're trying to give him something, but I also feel like the whole him standing up for himself bit should have been a season 1 arc, not a him finally realizing it in season 2. So on one hand, I'm glad he's standing up for himself more because he should have been doing that. But I feel like, hey man, we should have been doing this the last season. Like now, I kind of don't care anymore because there's more interesting things happening. But
well, he was a little bit more second banana, right? Third banana in the first one, so he didn't have as much opportunity, I think, for them to focus on him. But now that like Merv is out of the way, or Mern, whatever, is out of the way, Amanda Waller's out of the way, you have a little bit more breathing room to let him kind of shine a little bit more and give him more screen time. And then I think the Harcourt thing is also playing in my mind because we've seen her play 2 different characters, right? So you're seeing her as the good place version and this version, like the regular version we're used to. And that contrast is so stark that there's absolutely going to be a reckoning of like, this could have been my life. Like I have this in me, but like so far I haven't been able to like do that because everything is sort of like going to hell all the time for me. And the choices that I made maybe in the past or whatever. Right. So there is this in the same way that it is for Peacemaker, where it's like, oh, if I like there is this like paradise or Elysium out there for me that like I know what this could look like. And for her, we're seeing the same thing. She hasn't seen it yet, but we're seeing the same thing around like, oh, this is what your life could have been had certain things not gone a certain way, right? And so we know that she has that in her, or we think that she has that in her, even if right now she's like lost in the sauce a little bit. I want to keep going. We've heard a little bit about it, but besides what you said, is there any other like, I don't know what negative feedback's not the right thing, but like, would you give the show a few notes so far that you want to see them, like shift and adjust? Clearly, Savon, it seems like you kind of want the show to a little bit more veered towards like move the story along. Like let's get some like actual serious development going rather than just do the bits. Is there anything else that you'd sort of comment to the show, or is that kind of the main thing?
That's the main thing, and it's not even move the story forward necessarily. Because I don't mind a show that's taking time to just develop the characters by them doing more quote-unquote mundane things that's not moving the plot. But I feel like they're not getting a lot of the character. I just thought season 1 of Peacemaker had a lot of cool character moments with everybody, and I just thought that was a little more interesting. So for me, it's more of just to give the characters more interesting things to do. And I think with as big as the cast is, that's hard. Like, what are they going to do with Judo Master? Like, okay, they brought him back, but like, how much are they going to do versus not do, and how much will that take or give to other characters? I think for me, it's really going to come down to how they utilize this parallel universe for what they want to do with the larger story. I feel like it's been a plot with the government people and Peacemaker bouncing back and forth, but I guess I've been waiting more for Peacemaker to kind of reveal his situation in that universe and be forthcoming a little bit, because otherwise I feel like that plot feels like it's treading water a little bit. But for me, this could be a show that if they do well with the universe, the second universe plot for the second half of the show, it could probably flip my opinion of how they do things. Because again, I'm always running my mouth about how I like to judge it in totality when it's all said and done, and weaker episodes can be retroactively made better if you have the following episodes be well done. So, if they do something well with the Rick Flag Senior stuff and this parallel universe and the whole thing with his brother and dad and him really maybe being forthcoming, I think this could go to a really dope place. But I don't know where they're going to find the time to do that and also make me care about the other characters who are just very removed from this alternate universe timeline. So I don't know. I have questions. I have things I'm a little skeptical about, but there's room for them to stick this landing. It just depends on how they utilize the universe. But also, an 8-episode season ain't a lot of time to cover all the ground and character shit they seem like they want to do. But again, we could spend a whole pod talking about how these 8-episode structures suck.
Brian.
Yeah, I think it
award-winning director Brian Redondo. Sorry.
I mean,
I'm trying to undercut my credentials by bumping up his shit.
Yeah, where are your accolades? Where are your accolades?
Smoke bomb.
Yo, I legit went to a dance battle yesterday and someone did a smoke bomb.
Yeah, I've been seeing you've been out here dancing. You've been getting busy. You've been getting sturdy lately.
Oh my
BZ.
God. We can talk about that offline.
They felt hard doing that. But I know they felt hard doing that.
Yo, they were like going for this ninja theme thing, and there's legit smoke in the middle of the dance floor. I was like, where did that come from? Anyway, I think that there is a lot of promise with the multidimensional aspect of this show, especially now by the end of episode 4, they have moved said pocket dimension, and we know that Argus is tracking pocket dimensions because they are such a danger to the one that they're in, to the Earth, right? They saw the rift in Metropolis. So there's a lot at stake, I think, with the game that Peacemaker is playing. Obviously he's just in it for himself, right? He, in his man-child world, he just cares about having his dream reality and probably not recognizing all of the possible terrible outcomes that could come of his own decisions, his own selfish decisions. So I think there's a lot of promise in that, and I will give James Gunn a huge benefit of the doubt that he will find a way to make that part of the show satisfying. I kind of don't think there's going to be a lot of redemption for all the side characters. There's just we're 4 episodes in, they're not doing anything. They're just going to continue to be bits. And that's all right, as long as they are good bits. And here's where I have a problem with the show. James Gunn is like really going for things, and as soon as they introduce the Eagle Hunter character, which is a bit, for sure, it's a bit from our friend Yondo from Guardians, and
Michael Rooker,
Merle from
Walking
Dead. Anyway, like, they're introducing this character, and James Gunn is trying to, be self-aware and say like, oh yeah, you're like Captain Cultural Appropriation, but then they triple down on the cultural appropriation part of it, right? Like, this guy's opening up his third eye and has flames around him, and he's like soaring above the eagles and stuff like that, doing like some random like fake Native American dance around a bonfire. Like, what the F, man? Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, he's like playing it for laughs but like and calling it what
But
it
the shit
is.
works.
But
the
then
shit
like
works.
yeah, but then running with, you know, the shit that he just called himself out for, right? And I sort of like, I feel like that undercurrent of the crass teenage humor is seeping out into other ways, right? Like even Tim Meadows calling the agent titties, like, come on, let's not do that, right? Like, call that character Mr. Clean. She had a bald head. Like,
yeah, literally. The
like,
bald
why are you
head
calling
joke
her?
was right. The bald
Yeah.
head joke was right there. I
Why are
was
you
like,
calling her
okay.
titties? Like,
Just-
we don't need it. And you know, like the Chinaman thing, like, yeah, like, come on, like that stuff is like really not working and totally undercutting what I felt was like the ethos of Peacemaker, which is trying to become better. Like, yo, James Gunn, become better. Like, don't use it as just like a blank check to be able to then, you know, have these jokes, right? Just by acknowledging that, you know, they're problematic.
Yeah.
So like, to me, that goes hand in hand with what Savon is saying about this crass teen humor. Like, where is it going exactly? Like, it can be funny, but you know, if you do it too much and you do it the wrong way, you like almost overindulge on it, it can tear the whole thing down.
It can feel a little self-indulgent a little bit. It can feel kind of self-indulgent. Like, sometimes the laughs are meant to elevate the scene or alleviate the mood or show something about a character, or the joke reveals something that is important, or just a clever joke. But I'm moving past just F-bomb humor. And to your point, like, the Chinaman joke happened at first, it actually was funny, and they were playing him as being a complete idiot. Like I said, retroactively, that all went out the window when I saw this man have those blue flames in the thing. I was like, oh
my
cool.
God.
So literally all the other stuff of him looking like a complete jackass, which again, not my favorite bit, but I see what they're trying to do, was completely undercut when it's like, yo, y'all can't make fun of this man for all this shit Economos was saying that I was sitting there agreeing with, and then he got the fire, and I'm like, oh, so we were wrong. I'm like, oh, cool. So
yeah,
this man got the Native American powers, and he's just a racist ass, and that's just it. He could do spirit eagles, and he will incorrectly refer to your Asian Asian country of origin. I'm like, cool. What's the joke here?
Yeah, exactly.
He was
like big
he
question
was also
mark.
racist in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, but he was. Yeah, but they didn't play it for laughs. He was a dick, and then he suffered.
They
for
wanted
it
you to hate
multiple
him.
times. Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. He called Glenn a Chinaman, and guess what? Effing happened. He got chained to an effing roof. He got handcuffed to a roof and left for dead. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for the first like 3 episodes of The Walking Dead. Season
From
1.
15 years ago.
Spoiler alert, Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader are one and the same. What?
Hey, there might be people who never saw
Bum, 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 bum.
All right. Let's wrap up there. Any last thoughts that you'd have? I don't know. So far, I've actually like been pretty much enjoying the show. I don't feel like maybe I'm connecting as much as maybe I did season 1, although it's hard for me to remember because that was so long ago. And it also feels a little bit less. And this is not a fault of the show but like, it's not really a critique of the show, just kind of where it fits, right? Like, Superman felt like really the launch of the DCU. It felt like this big grand story. We're introduced to Superman again. And this kind of quote like new world, right? Like this new reality that we're seeing in the DCU. Peacemaker, because it was kind of carried over from before, and this is our second iteration, it doesn't feel like it has the same sheen on it, the same like, oh, this is a shiny new toy. It actually feels a little bit like, is this like consequential? Is this really just from the old universe, and like we're just going with it because like James Gunn was the one who made it, and you know he's in charge, so he gets to greenlight his own projects, you know?
Does it feel like filler?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I mean, maybe. And maybe that's okay, right? Like we said before, not everything has to be super connected and advance the like the multiverse or the cinematic universe or whatever. And if it's a good story, it's a good story. I do think there's a little bit of me wondering, right? And this is maybe not a valid concern, but maybe, you know, a little bit part of me wondering, like, is this actually going to be worth watching by the time that we're over, or is it just going to be like a cool, like, hey, we had 8 episodes to hang out and have fun, but like it doesn't actually impact the greater story of the DCU? And I think it could be okay if it's like that, but there is part of me that's like, oh, I kind of wanted another thing to push the DCU and expand my understanding of it. But that's just me being impatient also, because we're going to get Supergirl next year. Like, we are going to get more entries into the DCU, obviously, in the coming, years.
Man of Tomorrow also.
Yeah, well, this is the thing with all comic book stuff, right? Like, it's that constant battle, and there's no right answer because different fans want different things. Some people, and we've said it out of both sides of my mouth many times over the years, we want it to be connected, but also simultaneously, I don't want to do homework and don't want to have to watch previous stuff because it's connected. But also, it feels inconsequential because it's not connected. But it's like we frankly go back and forth about what it is. So like, there's no right answer at this point. It's just, you know what, Gunn, do what you think is right. I do think that establishing, I will say, I do like that. Regardless of what the show does later and if it has any larger connections to the the DC universe, I thought that the Justice Gang retcon was fine. I had no real issues with that. I'm glad that they kind of just did that out the gate to answer some of those, wait, what's real, what's not type stuff. And it's like, okay, cool.
That was so jarring to me.
What was the retcon exactly?
So the retcon is that
silhouettes.
Yes.
Yeah, the retcon essentially is that the events of Peace, because there's like some time. There's always the question of what's canon, what's not in James Gunn's universe. And I think he said himself on the record, but I think through the show, what you're meant to infer is that Peacemaker Season 1 had the Justice League show up and we got their silhouettes. They're retconning that to where it's the Justice Gang. In fact, even in the recap, I think they even changed a line to reference, can we call the Justice Gang instead of Justice League? They did a cool little, almost like a token moment of like, that's what she always had said. And then, they bring instead of the Aquaman being into fish, they did the Green Lantern puke thing instead. So he's still just an absolute ass to like a certain leaguer. I thought that was a cool adjustment of like, okay, cool. Here's what we can establish. Like, they just kind of wiped the slate of those characters and us even thinking about the old DC characters. And I will say, I like that he used the Justice Gang in that interview scene. I thought that was actually
that was a good bit, right?
That was funny. And
it progressed Peacemaker's character forward.
And which is what I really liked, is that it was funny, but it also reinforced a lot of these superhero groups are kind of disconnected a-holes, and it set up Peacemaker having a literal drug-fueled breakdown that led to him going into the Pocket Universe. Like, it was a joke that actually moved the plot forward because it shows Homeboy having a legit breakdown. I was like, hey, this is one of the more realistic parts of the show.
Didn't want him.
Hey man, if I did an amazing thing in my job, applied for an interview, got absolutely humiliated in an interview, I know what I'm doing when I get home. I'm sparking one up. Now, I'm not gonna have a cocaine fueled orgy.
You're not inviting a variety of dong to your house.
No, but what I am gonna do is whatever my version of coping is, and I'm like, yo, man, that was a very realistic part. All that to say, Wes, I'm at this point kind of with Brian. They probably should have shrunk the cast down between seasons, if we're going to be honest, and just wrote some of the characters out. But James Gunn would never, not reuse an actor. He used every part of the Kyle type dude. He used everything from the rooter to the tutor. But at this point, I'm all in for good Peacemaker moments, and I know we're going to get that. So I'm kind of just emotionally investing in him and kind of taking my stock out for the other characters because I think I'll be disappointed expecting too much more.
Yeah. Brian,
it makes me wonder if we're going to run into other versions of the side characters in the greatest dimension ever, right? Maybe that will actually redeem all the side characters. But yeah, I think we said it all. Like I think there's like interesting parts of the show. Peacemaker's individual storyline is interesting. The pocket dimension, I think, brings up like a lot of interesting insights, and also, to your criticism, Wes, does sort of move the needle forward on pocket dimensions, right? And like it's something to be something that needs to be wrestled with for the rest of the DCU, and it's just and then you got the comedy, which is entertaining but it can also miss sometimes and be irritating. So like I think the show is, it's pretty decent for what it is. Is it better than season 1 so far? Probably not. But the landscape has also changed, and we got another James Gunn thing, and we're gonna have like a decade of James Gunn. So we gotta get used to it.
Yeah.
Not everything is going to be a smash. Not that it ever was either, right? Like Suicide Squad was good. I don't know if
I
it
like
was
Suicide
awesome.
Squad. I've liked most of his projects. All the, you know this, Guardians of the Galaxy. I know Savon doesn't like them, but I love those movies. The second one, not as much, but 1 and 3, top tier.
Yeah,
What
not
can I say?
everything's
I
a
can only
hit.
tolerate.
Not
What can I
everything's a
say?
hit
You
for
can
this
only
guy.
do so. What y'all don't like? Classic rock with classic rock fight scenes with talking animals.
Yeah,
Which
he does the
James Gunn
animals
project
great.
am I talking about? Who knows? I could be talking of one of 6 different movies.
I love he does talking animals very
The
good.
movie, the one with the talking animal, when they played the rock song, with the people, they be fussing at each other.
Do you think he cares about real animals,
the
or is
one
he
with
only a
Nathan
supporter
Fillion.
of fake animals?
The one with Nathan Fillion in it.
And his brother.
The one with his brother and his brother's in it.
The one with Michael Rooker.
No, not that one. The one
the
with
other one.
the one with his wife in it.
All right, friends. That'll call it here. We'll see what happens in the second half. I don't know if we're gonna come back to this. Probably. We'll maybe revisit this. And I don't know. We didn't talk about what's next, so you have no homework. But hopefully you enjoyed Peacemaker season 2 so far. All right, friends, we're out of here. Hit us up on @confidently_pod on Instagram. We're also on YouTube. And yeah, leave us a comment. What'd you think? Or leave us a comment in our show post. What'd you think of Peacemaker season 2 so far? See you later. Bye.